Okay, hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to JFD Trader Sea Time with me, Darius and Anucauskas. Today is the 19th of August 2019, so welcome everyone. Welcome to this Monday's afternoon session where we're going to have a quick look at the markets, a few of the charts, the usual stuff. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, so also just a quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel here, to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos, and of course our JFD research page on our jfdbank.com website. So yep, feel free to go in here and have a look at different analysis that we do on a daily basis. So I believe you can find something useful here as well. So, but for now, let's jump into the charts. Now the first one I want to touch on here is the S&P500. Now last week the S&P closed virtually unchanged, still kind of remained below this downside resistance line, even though on Friday it did make a nice push back up. Still it kind of remained below this line, so that's why for now, as long as it kind of stays below this, then we will consider the downside as a more possible scenario. The only thing is here is, and looking at this daily chart, in order to, let's say, get comfortable with further declines in the downside, ideally we would like to see a drop below the 2,822-25 zone right here, and only then we will consider further declines, because this way the index would confirm a forthcoming lower low, and we could then target areas like the 2,800 zone, or even slightly below that, the 2,766. Now keep your eyes on this level right here, and actually let me just quickly highlight that just for our future reference. So we'll keep an eye on this level, but as I said, this is where we will get comfortable with further declines. As I said, as I understand, I mean, the as long as it kind of stays here below this, then yep, we will kind of aim for lower areas. But in terms of the upside, if let's say this downside line breaks and we see a push above it, the more comfortable zone for us, after which we could start looking at slightly higher levels, would be the 2,943-45 zone, approximately around there. That's basically the highest point of last week, and this way, if we get a nice push above this, this could open the path towards slightly higher levels. We will initially target the 2,975 zone, which was seen as a nice area of support back on the 19th of July. But if that doesn't stop the acceleration, then the next target for us could be around the psychological 3,000 level. So, but then again, I'll repeat myself, in order to consider that upside, we need to see a nice good push above this level right here, near the 2,943-45 zone, approximately around there. So keep your eyes on this one, guys. These are the two levels that we're going to be keeping a close eye on, because in a way, if this, let's say, struggles to break through one of these, then in a way the index could continue ranging for a while here. So also do not exclude this possibility of seeing something like that. So that's why, guys, we're saying that in order to consider a further directional move, we need to see a clear breakthrough one of these levels. Jumping into Ethereum, so we haven't touched this one for quite a while, but basically, and for this one, let me just jump into a 4-hour chart. There we go. So basically, of course, it's still trading below this tentative downside resistance line taken from the high of the 9th of July. You can see that it did try to make a push higher today, but kind of got held near this line and slightly retraced back down. Now again, this retracement back down is not significant, not big. It's just could be seen as a temporary correction. But then again, before we could aim for let's say lower levels here, actually, because we're still trading below the downside line, and as long as it remains intact, we will continue aiming lower. So that's why before aiming lower, ideally we would like to see a drop below the 109 zone, and this way we will target the low, this current lowest point of August near the 173 in a half zone, something like that. This was achieved last week, so basically that's the lowest point of last week. But if that fails to withhold, of course this would confirm a forthcoming lower low, and we could then aim for further declines. But again, like I said, we are at a slightly tricky spot right now. It is currently, yes, it is currently balancing just slightly below this downside resistance line. It's, don't get me wrong, it's a bit of a tentative one. So in a way, if this pushes above, then yep, there could be a possibility of seeing this one pushing further up. But as you can see on the chart here, the level that I'm watching for in order to where to get slightly more comfortable with higher levels is this 216 zone, approximately around there, because it coincides also with the 200 EMA here on the 4-hour chart, and is also near the highs of the 12th of August. Now again, good potential target. By the way, the 12th of August is the, or this level here, the 216, is the highest point of last week. So that's why also this could be a nice kind of gateway towards higher levels. So that's why, guys, for now probably it's better to be safe than sorry, and that's why we're going to keep a close eye on these two levels. So basically, if we get a nice push above the 216, that's great news for the bulls. We could see this one pushing further towards the 240 zone, or even going further towards the psychological 250 or above. But again, let's not get too excited here. First, let's see those breaks. After that, we'll consider that upside. But again, for now, as long as it's kind of still trading below this downside resistance line, if it continues to do that, keep your eyes on this 190 zone. A nice good drop below this could, in a way, open the path back down towards the 173.5 zone, or in other words, the lowest point of last week. So keep your eyes on that one. I'm jumping into a few pairs now very quickly. AUDUSD. Now this is, I've talked about this one last week, and basically what I was saying is that we're still keeping close eye on this range. So the pair is ranging right now. So you can see that it's stuck roughly between the 0.6743 on the downside and the 0.6820 on the upside. So in a way, for now, we're going to keep an eye on this. For now, we're going to just monitor these two levels. If we see a breakthrough one of those, then yep, we will consider a further directional move, but only in the short run. So in a way, basically what I'm saying here is that if we see a push above the 0.6820 zone, yes, we will aim for slightly higher levels, but initially we will only target the 0.6866 area. Also, as you can see, it acted as a good area of support back on the 30th of July, and also as resistance on the 1st of August, and also it coincides with the 200 EMA. So basically a huge obstacle here, but of course if that gets overcome, then yep, we could see this one pushing further up. But again, that's where for now, if we get a push through this upper side of the range, then we will initially only target the 0.6866, and then we'll take it from there, see how it performs. If it's struggling to overcome this, then well, we'll have to reevaluate it again. In terms of the downside here, a drop below the 0.674340 zone could in a way do the trick for the bears. Initially we will aim for the 0.6706, but the other important level to watch is the current lowest point of August, which is near the 0.6673. If that fails, of course, to break to withhold, then yep, further declines are possible. But again, for now, we're not gonna rush into this yet. First, we're gonna keep an eye on these two levels. If we see a drop below the 0.6743, then yep, we will consider the lowest point, the current lowest point of August, near the 0.6673. So keep your eyes on that one, guys. Jumping into a few euro pairs here. So the euro CHF. So in general, the safe haven currencies like the Swiss franc and the Japanese yen are on the downside today. So but currently the strongest one seems to be the euro. So and you can see here by this nice reaction, this nice picture here on the euro CHF, we are getting a nice boost here. It's pushing higher, it's pushing away from its pivot, today's pivot, which was around the 1.0856-55 zone, and is currently now closer near the 1.09 level. So for now, we're going to keep an eye on this. You can see that previously that we looked at this one. This is when we were last time looked at this basically, and you can see how far we've gone now to the downside. So in a way, what I wanted to show you here is that we're still trading below a downside resistance line, or in other words, we're still within a downtrend here. This tentative downside line taken from the high of the 8th of May. Basically, that's kind of showing the direction of the Euro CHF. But from the more shorter term perspective, what we could do here is to have a look at some of these key areas of support and resistance. So basically, as you can see, the pair had a nice rebound from this area right here, so around the 1.0832, and now it's pushing towards the 1.09 level. The only thing is that yes, that's a good sign, but what we would like to see here is a nice good push above the 1.0913-14 zone, or in a way, if you like to round it up even better, the 15 zone. So basically, long story short, this break here could in a way open the path towards slightly higher levels, or to a slightly larger correction. So we will then aim for the 1.0958-60 zone, and of course slightly above that we do have that downside line that I've just mentioned, which also could provide some good resistance. So for now, what you could do here is, yes, we are moving nicely to the upside. Probably I would recommend not to chase the market here. We could in a way see this one maybe traveling a little bit higher, but if it gets held here near this 1.0914 zone, we could see maybe a small correction back down. So in a way, what you could do is just wait for a clear break through this 1.0914 level, and then target this larger correction towards the 1.0960 zone, or this downside resistance line. And also you can see that we do have the 200 EMA approaching that area, so in a way also could be a nice target here to test. So that's why for now, we are moving higher here, but we'll be very careful around this level here near the 1.0914. If we get a break, then yep, we'll aim for higher levels. If it stalls, then we could see this one maybe retracing back down, or even actually starting to range here for a little bit. But in terms of the downside here, a drop below the 1.0832, that's what we're going to be waiting for, because to be honest, this way the pair would confirm a forthcoming lower low, and we could aim for the area around the 1.08 zone. So keep your eyes on that one. Again, for now, it seems that the downside could be slightly off the table from the short-term perspective, because it's getting closer to this 109.14, but we need that good break here above this before aiming for a slightly larger correction. Quick mentioning of EURJPY, similar story, also pushing to the upside a little bit. Had a nice rebound from the 117.53 level, and it's now getting closer to the 118.67, approximately around there. So again, still overall below the downside resistance line taken from the high of the 30th of June here. And for now, even if it, let's say, pushes a little bit further up here, at least towards, let's say, towards the 119.50, 60 zone, it could be met here by this downside resistance line and by this 200 EMA. So basically, good area of resistance is seen right here. But for now, again, like I said, keep your eyes on some of these potential breakout points. You can see that it's currently getting held here by the 50 EMA, but if the bulls are still happy to push this one further up here, a break above the 118.67 could in a way open the path towards this downside resistance line. In terms of the downside, for us to get comfortable with further declines, we need to wait for a drop below the 117.53, and only then we will aim for further declines. This way the pair would confirm a forthcoming lower low, And yep, we could aim initially for the 117 or even slightly below that, so keep your eyes on these two levels. And the last pair for this session, quickly what I wanted to show you is this USDJPY pair. So you can see that it's also making a nice push to the upside, not as strong as the EURJPY, but still traveling higher. And this is what I was talking about last week. Basically what I was saying, that we need to see a clear break above the 106.74 zone, approximately around there, in order to aim for slightly higher levels. Now initially we will target only this level right here near the 107.18, because that marks the low of the 18th of July and also kind of coincides with the 200 EMA or on the 4-hour chart. So basically, it could play out as a nice area of resistance, but if that fails to withhold, now this is where it could become a little bit more interesting for the buyers, and we could see this one traveling a little bit further to the upside here, maybe even aiming for the 108 zone. Don't get me wrong, that overall the Japanese yen is still somewhat looking strong, but again, for now what we're seeing here is a larger correction, and especially if we see a push above this 106.74 zone, then yep, we will aim for this larger correction to the upside, because as you can see, the pair is kind of trading below a tentative downside resistance line. And if we just quickly put this line right here, roughly it's around here, and if I'm capturing this little high, this is where like I said, this is how it looks basically for now. For now, the pair is trading below this downside resistance line. It still has some room here for a larger correction, so keep your eyes on that. But like I said, overall in the probably more near term, it could reverse and push back to the downside unless it breaks this downside resistance line. So keep your eyes on that. But again, like I said, from the short term perspective, what we're looking here at is the 106.74. If we get a nice push above this, we will aim for the 200 EMA and this 107.18 zone. But if this suddenly reverses back down, the only thing for us to get, let's say, slightly more comfortable with lower areas, ideally we will wait for a drop below this one right here, the 105.50, and only then we will aim for lower levels. So guys, keep your eyes on this one. It's a very tricky one. It's currently, like I said, sitting slightly below this 106.74. Keep your eyes on that level. If we get a nice push above it, then we will aim for the 200 EMA initially, and then we'll take it from there, see what he wants to do. If it wants to climb further, we will aim further, and then we'll aim for the 108 zone. But again, like I said, first we need to see some levels getting broken. Okay guys, I hope you found it useful. Thank you very much for sticking around and watching it till the end. If you want to join me tomorrow morning in my Traders Espresso, as always, that's 6 o'clock GMT time. We'll have a look at some of these pairs again, and we'll some new instruments as well. So yep, like I said, guys, I'll be happy to see you tomorrow in my morning video. Of course, you can always view that one as recorded as well. So, and but like I said, for now, guys, I hope you have a beautiful evening, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you very much, and bye bye.